Welcome to the Daily Dish with New York Times bestselling author Leanne Ely. Putting vibrancy back into your everyday life and feeding your heart, mind, body, and soul. Join us every day at 1 p.m. Eastern for Motivational Monday, Tuesday's Tip, Wise Woman's Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, Food Fight Friday, and of course Q&A, where no question is off limits, and Soulful Saturday. Here is your host, Leanne Ely, and the Daily Dish.
Hello, it's Q&A, FriYAY! Welcome, everyone. Today it's recorded, but I'm sure you don't mind because that's how it rolls anyway, because these questions all need to be given to me in advance so that I can do my due diligence and answer you thoughtfully and hopefully intelligently. How about that? Anyway, pinky's up for FriYAY. I don't know about you, but I'm really ready for this week. I was just telling Jenny that my dog had a little issue this morning, and there was quite the poop show, shall we say, in his kennel. He never does that, so this was quite a disaster. And that's a good way to start off your morning without even having coffee. Am I right? No, I'm not. Anyway, God bless that little doggy. Anyway, he felt so bad. He was like wagging his tail, like, "What am I doing? Can I help you?" Yeah, no. So that was this morning. I put in this quote: "An ounce of action is worth a ton of theory." You know, I could theorize all day long on what is going on with him, but the fact of the matter was cleanup was first and foremost. Amen. We need to think in those kind of terms sometimes. Like, got to do something first before you can start expounding on your theories. Theories are one thing, but action's a whole nother thing entirely. Next week, we're going from our hydration to what are we, collagen this week? I don't know. Wait, collagen next week. We have collagen next week. So don't forget to get signed up for that. It's really going to be great. savingdinner.com/collagen. You can watch the replay. You can get the downloads, lots of free stuff for the challenge. And you can understand why this all works the way that it does. Now, the replay is a repeat of what we did this past Tuesday night for the webinar, and some good questions there. So stay to the end. It's educational. How about that? I'd also like to remind you that Inner Circle, which is absolutely incredible, is filled, but we're taking signups, or at least interest parties, for our next one. We're probably going to start the next one right after the holidays. So you're going to want information on that. Get on the list for it. Go to savingdinner.com/circle. And we are studying this book and doing hot seats and everything else. It's, I always like to say that is way more than like a book club or anything like that. But the book is part and parcel. And this is the book. It's called Getting Off the Carousel of Crazy. There's a workbook that goes with it. You can get that right now and start reading, because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to just bet there's a few places that this book will touch, especially if you've been one of these women like me who's been in the diet culture and have decided to opt out. savingdinner.com/crazy. Because the diet culture is crazy and we want to get off that carousel, don't we? Check it out. I really would appreciate it. And I'd love your feedback on that too. Let me know if anything stirred the pot in any way, and if there's anything that I can help you with. I'm always interested to hear from people who's enjoyed something I've written. So that's everything you need to know about Getting Off the Carousel of Crazy book. We have a supplement of the week. Actually, we should probably stop calling them supplements of the week, because we have other things besides supplements, including incredible skincare. We have what we call our skincare trio, where you've got the Wise Women's Eye, Neck, and Lip Cream, which is just super emollient, very concentrated, creamy lip, eye, neck. This is all places where women lose their minds, right? Because what are these wrinkles? What's all this crow's feet? What is a gobble neck here, Moisture really helps with that, and that's what this one's all about. Our Wise Women's Deep Moisture Cream is just for all over, but there's the Supersonic Serum. That's what I call it anyway. It's the Wise Women's Deep Moisture Serum, and in it is some oils and all kinds of ingredients. You can find it at savingdinner.com/show. But the serum is tiny and it gets right into the pores. It goes deep into the epidermis. I love this stuff. Has the slightest scent, no scents added. I always say this is skincare you can eat. So you buy the trio, which we give you a deal when you buy all three of them together. We're going to throw in an extra bottle of our serum. And the reason why is the colder weather is upon us. Your skin dries out in colder weather, and this serum will lock the moisture in. It really helps a lot. So that's a screaming deal. Take advantage of it. It will be gone on Monday. savingdinner.com/show. That's where you can read all about it and grab it. Now you will see as you're checking out something that says, hey, why not get the Vibrant C plus E? And I'm going to tell you, why don't you? This takes your skincare to the next level. You'll feel a little tingle with the vitamin C plus E cream. That is the vitamin C because it's active. It's encapsulated. It's not dead. Because vitamin C goes flat really fast. Not this because of the way of the production methodology, and they encapsulate the C and the E so that it goes right into the skin, and it makes such a difference. I use it morning and night. First thing in the morning, I use it all by itself with just a little bit of our serum. I just I don't even wash my face. I just take a nice warm washcloth and get my face, wiped off from sleeping, but I've already washed it the night before. Then I do the vitamin C plus E. I just put it together and the serum, and it feels really yummy. I just let it sink into my skin before it's time to do, anything else that I do with my face. And then at night, I go full guns on all of that. I love it. I share it with you, and that's why. If you have a TikTok, you have TikTok on your phone, TikTok's really fun, but there's a whole lot of garbage on there. We don't give you garbage though. If you Leanne _ Ely, that's who I am. And that's my TikTok account. And we're working on doing a quote of the day each day. And I really love quotes. You know how I'm just such a lover of quotes and use them all the time. And my quote deck fell on the floor yesterday and I haven't picked it up. But I use my quote deck every single day. It's just, it helps to refresh my mindset of what it is that I'm trying to accomplish in my life. And you can find it. All of our goodies, all of our work tools is what I like to say. These are the things that move the needle in your life. You can find them all at savingdinner.com/tools. And you can find us on TikTok as I share a quote of the day from the quote deck. That's the only place you're going to get it. And we also have other stuff on Instagram, by the way. So that's instagram.com/savingdinner. Duh, right? That's where that is all going to be. And this month, we are giving away, because it's Croctober after all, we are giving away a bundle of ebooks that is all about crock pots. And those usually would go for $37. And they're absolutely free anytime you buy anything from us on Saving Dinner this month, because we're like that. We're super generous. Alrighty. I think I have everything there, don't I? Quick Q&A for next week. If you want to get your questions in, to send them into support@savingdinner.com. Question for Leanne on Friday. It is that simple. It's that simple. And I will take care of it. All right. You ready? Let's get into some questions. First things first. We've got Judy asking, is it best to buy organic canned pumpkin puree? Yes. I think she's saying as opposed to the pumpkin pie filling. Pumpkin pie filling they do the spices for you, which is convenient, but convenience not always better, right? You know that. And secondarily, there's sugar and, what have you in there. Pumpkin puree is a fabulous thing. And by the way, that's what I'm giving my doggy right now for his little diarrhea attack. Pumpkin helps to bind things up. So it works for humans, it works for dogs. And there's a lot of beta carotene in there, great amount of fiber. And it's just a very anti-inflammatory type of a thing. So in my beef stew, sometimes what I will do, like I have a crock beef stew. I think it's in I think it's in the bundle that I was just telling you about that you get free when you order anything off of Saving Dinner this month. And I put a couple of tablespoons of pumpkin puree in there oftentimes just to give it that extra vitamin push. We don't often eat a lot of yellow and orange vegetables, and that's where that beta carotene comes from. Beta carotene is a precursor for vitamin A, and it's a lot more effective because it creates vitamin A in your body. Now, vitamin A is oil-soluble vitamin, so you have to be careful of that. You can develop vitamin A toxicity. And so the way to avoid that is to use a lot of beta carotene, and what you don't use, your body throws off. I mean, if you take too much beta carotene, your palms will turn orange, but it takes a ton to do that. So I don't imagine a lot of you are doing that. Francesca says this is an update because I asked her for what supplements she takes, and she said she takes no probiotics, sleepy, selenium, glycosine B, or CoQ10, but she takes everything else. So yes, I would say follow the little insert that we have. And, if you feel like it's too much, then break it up. You can break up some of your, and you can do it the way that you want to. Do your supplement, half of your supplements when you break your fast, and do the other half of your supplements when you go to, when you take your next meal. Remember this. This is what I need to say about supplements. With the exception of Leptifix and SAMe, you want to be taking supplements with your food. I always think of it as like they're the food is the wave and the supplements are the surfboard. They just ride themselves in as part of the wave. And that's how your body better digests. You get kind of queasy if you're taking supplements on an empty stomach. It's not recommended. And you don't get the absorption value as much either. So do it like that and follow our little, we send these out with every package of supplements that go out. We send you the little how to take your supplements thing. Just follow that. It's gold. Lucy said, since I admitted to weighing 300 pounds in the hydration webinar, I now feel free to ask this question. I've actually already lost 80 pounds, but I have a long way to go. Lost 14 in the sprint. Wow, that's incredible. Mark is taking 3 sleepies, right? I shared that with you. She says, since I weigh more than he does, may I follow suit? And I said she could even do 4. First of all, can we just say, so what if you weigh 300 pounds, right? We want to get off that carousel of crazy and stop measuring ourselves and our worth by what the scale says, because that's simply not true. What we need to be measuring against is our blood tests. How do we feel? What we need to be measuring against is our own barometer of how do we feel. And if our blood tests are great and we're not in pain and we feel really good and we have energy, we're on the right track. And you know what? You get to decide how much you weigh. It's not up to me. It's not up to a BMI. It's not up to all of this. I'm really sick of fat shaming. And I always say, yeah, usually what I have seen in my experience over all these years is that people when they lose weight, they lose inflammation. I haven't seen that not happen. But if you're not inflamed and you do feel good, then have at it and be you and do you, right? But I'm still going to advocate for a really healthy diet. I'm still going to advocate that you throw away the junk and that you eat the whole food. So I applaud you, my dear Lucy. And you know what? I think that when we shine the light and just say, hey, this is what it is, and, like it or lump it, and here I am, and I'm doing the best that I can with what I got, and I feel good and I feel better, then I applaud you. We can only do so much. We're never going to be bikini models. We're never going to be sitting there in our jeans doing commercials. We just want to get into our lives and live them out with vibrancy. We don't want to be left behind. We don't want to have the family go hiking and we have to stay behind because we can't keep up, right? Those are the things. That's not shaming. That's just saying facts, man. I don't feel good. I can't keep up with that. Well, if you want to keep up and do whatever it is that you want to do, what's holding you back? That's up to you to make that decision. What's holding you back from living the life you want to live? Your vibrancy is all very much about what you consider to be vibrancy. I don't get to define that for you. You do. So, you admitted. I love you, Lucy, with all of my heart. I just think you're just one of the most incredible women. and so creative and so sweet and so soft in heart. And by the way, she says, thanks. Hi to Lincoln. See what I mean? I don't care what you weigh. I think you're lovely and beautiful the way you are. So there. This is from Rena. Now she's got a bunch of questions, so buckle up. The first of, oh shoot, I left my graph up upstairs. That's all right. I can pretty much answer it because there's some things that you need to know. The first of two questions are connected. For my supplements, I type them up with a sheet with dosage and when to take them, but also include the whys and to take them and the reference. This helps me to focus, and if new science becomes available, I can recheck my source. Regarding CalMag ratios, I checked PubMed and came across opposing articles, but can clearly see how important this is because it could be dangerous if done incorrectly. I trust you are correct, but can you please guide me to a link with current info on this? I surely cannot. Let me just tell you something. This is what happens, Rena. It is a rabbit hole that we go down when we start doing our research. And what we find is that there's confirmation bias even in the science. Even in the science. And we're never going to get it straight, and we're never going to get it 100% correct. We have to go with our gut at some point. We have to look at this and say, you know what? This is what makes sense. Because, and I went down the rabbit hole on this, but I don't have all day to search this out. And I'm not a research assistant or whatever. And I can come across anything that's gone to contradict other things. I can look at the source. I can look at who's funding this. I can read the abstract and the conclusion and even look through the whole summary and follow this is how it all works and see if it makes sense. Here's what I know about the ratios. There's been a lot of information, and they are finding that postmenopausal women have a 45% increase in cardiac events and disease when their calcium magnesium ratios are off. I read that one in another, and I left it all upstairs, so I apologize for that. But again, when I'm saying check again, just Google it. You can find it, and you'll find it, and put plus research, and you'll find the study that I'm talking about. And they're saying that they don't have solid conclusion just yet, but you quote Carolyn Dean. And Carolyn Dean, she said you reference Carolyn Dean. Well, Carolyn Dean is an expert on magnesium, plus she's a doctor, and she understands how calcium magnesium works. The problem with calcium is that calcium is a huge molecule. It's very hard for our bodies to digest it and assimilate it. Now, listen to me here. We probably get, this is what they're assuming in the science, that we're getting half of what we're taking if we're assimilating it correctly. Magnesium helps with this. And there's sort of a yin and yang, if you will, with calcium versus magnesium. So magnesium is mostly for soft tissue. Some of it gets into the bone, but lots of calcium all gets into the bone. But calcium is on the other side of that, right? And calcium and magnesium are always on the opposite side. So you've got bone, you've got muscle. That's what magnesium does. You've got things makes it harder, makes it stiffer, so to speak. That's what calcium does. Magnesium softens. That's what it. That's why I always tell you, take an Epsom salt bath. So the whole thing is what is the ratio? What do you feel comfortable with? They're going down. They've gone from 4-to-1 to 3-to-1 to 2-to-1. 2-to-1 and 1-to-1 is what I'm seeing mostly in the newest studies. Some will argue for a 2-to-1. Some will argue for the 1-to-1. I'm comfortable with the 1-to-1, especially when you consider that that kidney stones are going up with women, and calcium deposits in the arteries are going up for women. Calcium's great, but we also need, we have more collagen in our bones than calcium. We need to not discount that. Let's get into that, shall we? Calcium is good. We want calcium to be a part of what it is, but there's other minerals involved in it, as well as there's also a lot of collagen. So that's how I look at it, when I'm looking at all of that. Again, you can find all kinds of conflicting stuff. So what do I think? I think like you do. I think like, A lot of us do. I go with my own confirmation bias because this is my gut. And I know that sounds just bizarre, but again, there's conflicting stuff on there. And I know for a fact that there's a lot of women out there with kidney stones right now. I've coached them. Why do we have so many kidney stones? Well, I think that the kidney stone issue has a lot to do with dehydration, and it has a lot to do with not having the right ratio of calcium magnesium. So there. All right. And she said, she quotes Carolyn Dean: if we consume too much calcium without sufficient magnesium, not only will we create stress within the body, but the excess calcium won't be utilized correctly and may become toxic. Notice the word may. Other sites reference the same quote to promote taking a CalMag of 2-to-1. And she said when she checks out Carolyn Dean's book that the quote comes from on Google Books, this info isn't available. This is confusing to me, and I'd like to have certainty. I'm not going to be able to give it to you, Rena. Again, we're all in the same boat together, and we can research our buns off. But we come to this place. An ounce of action is worth a ton of theory. I'm comfortable with recommending a 1-to-1 ratio. I'm comfortable enough that I even said to my formulator, I want my ratio 1-to-1. This is how it needs to be. These are the reasons why. That's where I am. You have to make your own decisions based on what you feel is right. If you go in down the rabbit hole and you see the 2-to-1 and you say, yeah, I just don't agree with you, Leanne, I think this is it, then that's what you need to do. Because I am not the alpha and the omega authority on the CalMag ratios. What I can say is this is what I'm comfortable with. This is what makes sense, especially considering the fact that that heart disease is the #1 killer of women, and plaque, those deposits definitely will contribute. And number 2 is kidney stones. Kidney stones are an issue. And if this is one thing that we can do to eliminate them or lessen the degree that we might get them, there you are. Number 3, read your upcoming workshop on thyroid and books. She recommends Dr. Brownstein's. He discusses why blood tests are inaccurate for a diagnosis. Now, I didn't understand that at all, so you're going to have to tell me why. And then she says iodide and cancer. I don't know what that means. So if you can expound on that and send that in, I'll talk about that next week. She said, number 4, there's my daughters here. I read that the person who's been abused doesn't recognize it when it happens. How did you or we get over that and learn to recognize it? Okay, so this is, again, I'm not a counselor or whatever. And what I can tell you is this, that there are some people who it's a blackout theory, that they blacked out from that or they block it or whatever. I shared a story probably a few years ago that I was date raped. And for a long time, I didn't even put it all together, or I blamed myself, and I had all of this. And it wasn't until, a lot of people were like, rolling their eyeballs on the Me Too movement. But I looked at the Me Too movement back in whenever that was, in 2017 or 18 or whatever, as sort of a wake-up call. Like, this is like regularly happening, this is regularly happening. That goes beyond, that is abuse right there, right? And I knew this guy had it out for me, but I thought, I can handle it and everything. But I didn't know he had it out for me like that, right? I thought he just had a crush on me. That wasn't a crush. That was full on violence against me. And when I finally recognized it and started putting it all together, Mark was with me, but I cried my eyes out. I got so angry. And I said, this is what this is. I didn't bring this on. I didn't. It wasn't my fault. So that was a lot of things. So how does this happen? How do we recognize it or don't recognize it? It has to do with, our own stories, our own past, and how we look at things. I remember something that I didn't remember that happened when I was 4 years old. I've shared that story of abandonment. And it came to me as I was open I was in the bathtub, for heaven's sakes, and I was just trying to get through this whole letting go of things, and a lot of stuff that was involved. And I think as we do the work that we're called to do to heal, that things start to bubble up to the surface that maybe we've hidden and shut down for a long, long time. So I don't know how getting over it, I think, is putting a fine a fine point at the very end of it and saying, okay, so this is what happened. And again, for me, it was less about forgiveness and more about radical acceptance of what happened. And I will say, like, for my parents, I think I think both of my parents went through their stuff. And I say to them, at the time when all of this happened, there was anger, there was all kinds of emotions floating out there, that I just said they did the best that they could with what they had. And they did a crap job on that, particular stuff. But you know what? I still love them. And I still, I didn't have a miserable childhood. I had incidents that were typical of a dysfunctional childhood, when you've got all kinds of garbage going on. But, I wasn't locked in a closet and beaten regularly or any of that stuff. So radical acceptance is to me is a saving grace. So that's how do you recognize it is doing the work, I would say. And with a therapist, with yourself, with your journal, prayer, meditation, all of these things come into play. And I think it makes all the difference in the world. So you asked me, number 5 is that, can you please discuss boundaries? All right. I will give you Dr. Henry Cloud. Is it McLeod or Cloud? I think it's just Henry Cloud. Has a great book just called Boundaries. Strongly suggest you read that. But boundaries is essentially just saying that this is okay and this is not. There's the line. This is what I will accept. This is what I will not accept. And this is why I'm so adamant about women having voices in their lives, because we put up for so long and just deal with it. When I was a young woman, my mother told me that I needed to. This is what to expect in the workplace, and this is some stuff that you should expect from men and what have you. We didn't have big boundaries there, but she was showing me how to make your wonky Weasley boundaries, of just laugh it off, do this, do that, and make sure you don't dress a certain way, and all of that. It's kind of creepy, huh? But that was then, and I think very much our boundaries were cultural and part of our upbringing and what have you. And what I'm saying is, I think it's time for us to really make a shift on what we consider a boundary. Having a voice in your life and saying yes to this and no to that is what helps to affect and to keep a boundary in your life. So, for example, if you have a partner or a spouse that says, is putting you down or whatever, just say, that's just not okay. Yeah. What I want to say too, and I think what's important is that we don't have to be shrill and be obnoxious and scream and yell and, beat our fists on pillows and say, why doesn't anyone understand? We don't have to go this whole dramatic route. We just have to say in a voice that's very calm that that's just not okay. I don't appreciate that. I don't like that. And these are the reasons why. That's a boundary. So boundaries, in my mind, we all get a chance to put them out there. There are some people who are, rabid about certain things because of their history, their own stories. And for other people, they're like, why is that such a big deal? So we can't judge each other's boundaries any more than we can make each other's boundaries. But what I do know is this, that it's up to you to make the boundaries in your life that make you comfortable, that help you to function better, and to help you feel like you have the power in your life. I believe that boundaries give us a whole lot of power and help us to feel like I can do the things that I need to do and what I want to do in my life simply by laying down these boundaries. When you feel helpless and you feel like you've lost control of your life and everybody else has a say so and you don't, that's a real clue and a red flag that the boundaries in your life are missing. Okay? I hope that helps. And get the book. Really good book. And it blew me away. You're asking about vibration plates that you purchased one on Amazon. I tell you what, I love vibration plates. And you're saying here, wait a minute, where is it? Where is it? What did you say? You said, where is it? What they do and how often you suggest we use them. Well, you can use them as often as you want. You can use them once a day if you want. But 5 minutes of being on a vibe plate, that's crazy. It's good for your metabolism. It's good for weight loss because it jacks your metabolism up. It's good for your immune system because it shakes up your lymph and makes things flow better. Better lymph, whatever. It strengthens your joints. It also helps to eliminate pain in your joints. It also helps with strengthening your muscle, because your body is forced to hold a balance. So every muscle in your body basically is working at that time. It's also good for your bones. So muscle and bones, it's screaming to all postmenopausal women, get on me for 5 minutes a day. That's all it needs. It's also good for your circulation and it helps to bring blood pressure down too. Did you know that? That's pretty amazing stuff. All right. I think, regarding supplements, this is still Rena's questions, number 7. How do you suggest we take a day off from them? How often do I suggest? I take off Sundays. Every Sunday I don't take supplements. It's just my day off. I also don't do a smoothie on Sundays. I usually have bacon and eggs, right? Every once in a while, there's a Bloody Mary and a boat trip involved. It just depends. So just, do it. Your mileage may vary, but once a week, I think is great. In Dr. Sinatra's book on cholesterol myths you recommended, he discusses how pomegranate juice reverses arterial stenosis. Would the powder be as good for this? The juice is great, but sweet where I live, the organic is hard to come by. How much powder should I take to achieve this benefit? I am not going to diagnose that or tell you, but I do know that the cocktail, there's a pomegranate date cocktail that has studies on it. You can find in PubMed that says 3 dates a day and 4 ounces of pomegranate juice. So how much that, what's the equivalent? I don't know. I really don't know. And I think it would vary depending. Yes, it's awfully sweet, but if this is something that you have, that study is pretty amazing. And and if it's, not going to cause your blood sugar to go crazy, I don't know if you have any issues like that, then why not? I would just take it like that. But pomegranate powder, you can just take a look and see how many, I don't know. I don't know. I would probably say it would probably be 2 caps or something like that, or pomegranate. I don't know. I have no idea, but it doesn't say, what 4 ounces of what's in it. What's the deciding factor that makes pomegranate so great? What is it? Well, there's a little resveratrol in that, I know there, and there's vitamin C. What else is in there? This is from Jerry. She says, I was at the rheumatologist today and her vitamin D level is low. And she said to take 2,000 units of vitamin D a day. That's low. I have your vitamin D supplements. How many do I need to take to get the equivalent? A half of ours. So I would just take a whole and see how that goes. I would also recommend 20 minutes a day going outside. I would also recommend CalMag with that and doing 2 of our CalMag capsules with that. It all works together. Vitamin D, CalMag, and some sunshine is just a recipe for getting in your vitamin D. For those of us who have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which I know Jerry has because, we've discussed it, we're more prone to a lower vitamin D levels. That's why being on top of it is really important. When I had my test done and I take vitamin D, I take it. She said, hey, your vitamin D's kind of dropped off. It was in the 30s. I was like, I'm used to having mine way up there in the 50s and 60s. So Yeah, I increased my vitamin D level. I'm taking the same amount. I'm taking 4 vitamin D caps right now. I'm getting 4,000 international units a day. So ours is 100. It says 100 micrograms, and 100 micrograms equals 2,000 international units. So make sure that you're doing that. 20 minutes of sunshine. The other thing is you're asking. She had another question. She said, I've also read that people with autoimmune diseases have maybe be deficient in B1. That's thiamine. What is your recommendation for B1 a day and B12? Well, first of all, I never recommend taking vitamin Bs separately. I've said this before, but I think it's worth repeating. That's like going to the symphony and listening to a tuba solo. Nobody wants to hear a tuba solo, but a tuba can sound good in certain parts of a symphony with all the instruments playing. That's why we have a B complex. This is the Wise Women's B complex. It's also methylated, which is important because 60% of the population does not have the ability to methylate properly. It's the MTHR mutation of the gene. Okay? You don't even need to know that. You just need to know that always, always, always take a vitamin B complex. Always make sure that it's methylated, and ours is. The rush and the prickly and the weird sensation that you may get is genetic. Some people get it, some people don't, and that's from the niacin. By the way, it's called the niacin flush. It is not dangerous. It's just your capillaries opening up. Some people actually get little hives. I do. I always like, oh, I can't wait for this to go away. 5 minutes later, it's gone. But that's, I always say, well, it's doing its job. It's doing its work. Some people feel it, some people don't. It's not dangerous. So as far as thiamine is concerned, if you're taking a B complex and you're getting in lots of good, healthy protein, you're fine. One of the things that I'm starting to look into and starting to see, and I'm not ready to give you a full-blown analysis on, is the role of a little extra protein in your diet. What I'm seeing is that it sure looks like that's a good idea, is to get a little bit extra protein in your diet. If you have an autoimmune disease, because we need a little extra, especially post-menopausal women, it seems. What is that? I'm not prepared to say yet, but I'm starting to poke around on that one a little bit. That's how that one works. All right, I answered all the questions. I hope that was helpful. Boy, Rita had a few, didn't she? Those were good, really good questions. And I can answer a good many of them, but my hook, the thing that I know, is food. I understand about supplements, and I understand greatly what different vitamins and minerals, et cetera, enzymes, et cetera, do for you. But I work with a formulator on all of this stuff. I don't just willy-nilly say, I want this formulation. I work with a formulator because I want to make sure that, based on everything I'm reading, is this correct? Does this sound right? Because this guy knows his stuff. So that's how I go about doing all of this. And I also, I can't comment on Dr. Sinatra's work or what I think for this, and can I do this instead for when it's somebody else's work. But I would recommend writing into Dr. Sinatra's, he has a website, write into him and say, what would be the equivalent, of 4 ounces of this pomegranate juice? And what I saw was pomegranate juice with 3 dates, which, boy, that would be super sweet, and all mushed together. I would have a hard time with that. But listen, it beats the alternative, doesn't it? Right? I hope you enjoyed this show. If it was helpful for you, well, you know what to do. And I will see you for Soulful Saturday tomorrow. We're going to be wrapping up the whole week on being the contractor for your little house. And I think we'll leave the 3 little pigs out of it this time. What do you think? I'm ready to do that and move on. Peace be with you. I'll see you Saturday.
Thanks for watching. You can find us on YouTube on the Saving Dinner channel or on the Saving Dinner Facebook page. Check back daily for new episodes, Monday to Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you missed the live show, you can watch the replay. Until next time, pinkies up.